Did you have anything to do with the death of Tiahleigh Palmer?
Absolutely not.
All right. How was her demeanour that morning?
She was on key. She was happy, it's really sprightly. And I was sort of pleased that she was happy that day. I just thought, we're going to have a good day.
Area where Tia was hanging?
No.
Have you ever visited that area?
No, I didn't know anything about it.
I didn't know about it until she had been murdered, and I was informed later that day of everything that had happened, and she had had sex with my brother at a point I don't know when. Dad called us into the lounge room to discuss that that there was a few things happening. Trent had it was at that point that I was then informed about what Trent had done with Tia. Dad called us in, sat us down, proceeded to explain that Trent had had sex with Tia. He also said to me, which I still fully believe, that Trent didn't force himself on Tia. She was at that stage where she was looking into sex and puberty and all that sort of stuff. What I was told, that she forced herself on him.
So when you heard that?
I was very shocked.
Yeah.
And yeah, I really didn't want to look at either of them. He hadn't said at that point that he'd done the rest of it. At that point, yeah, he just said that Trent had had sex with Tia. Dad proceeded to say that we all had to protect Trent. We all had to keep a story amongst everyone, and the public and everyone else, that the next day Tia was going to go missing from school. But Tia, he then informed me that Tia was, his exact words were, Tia is no longer with us. And also he said, I hope you understand what that means. And he didn't actually say that he had done it, but I knew what he meant. That he had killed Tiahleigh Palmer.
How was Dad's emotions at that time?
He didn't cry. He seemed quite assured and defensive of what he'd done and why he had done it. Obviously was to protect Trent. And majority of it was, of his point was that it was forceful that we keep to the story. And at that point I was terrified that I didn't want to comply. I wanted to come and tell the police that I'd been told what had happened. But I knew that if I did that, I wouldn't make it 10 steps out of the door. That he would do the same to me.
What makes you think that?
He's had a past experience of these sorts of things. I don't know when. It was a very long time ago, much longer before I was born, that he had, and I didn't know about this until that night as well, but he was in care. He had killed a guard or someone of the sorts that was at the facility he was in care at. I don't remember where it was, what it was, who it was. anything.
You say he told you this while he was telling you the stuff about
He
Tia?
told me afterwards that he had done that previously.
Why do you think he would tell you that?
I think he wanted to try and assure us that no one was going to find out that he'd done it before, and he got away with it.
During that discussion at home, did he discuss with you the intricacies of how she was killed?
No, I still don't know what happened there. I just know that he did. That he did do it. And he said to us that it's best we don't know how it happened, because the less we know, the less we can tell. Dad said also that he didn't want us home on the Friday night, so that he could do what he had to do, which was hide the body.
On the Friday night?
Friday night, yep.
So where was Tia in that whole time?
I don't know, he didn't tell us where she was, but I'm assuming she was somewhere on the property.
And what was Trent's reaction to all this?
I don't think he cried either. I think he was also very shocked. I don't think he believed at first during that conversation until the Friday. I don't think he necessarily believed that Dad had done what he did. I think he sort of at that point thought it was a joke, but at that point I knew it wasn't a joke because of my past memories of Dad and what he said, and also I forgot to mention that before as well. I got sidetracked in his teenage years, but he never actually went to do it, but he threatened Mum in the past that he would leave her or he would kill her, but I don't think, before that point I didn't believe that it was real. It was all just angry talk.
At that, Tia's no longer with us, I think was the word that your dad used. Did anyone go and check to make sure she wasn't there?
No, we weren't really allowed to leave the room. But obviously she wasn't in her room.
And how's that, obviously?
Because she doesn't go to sleep that quickly, and obviously this conversation, or that whole conversation that night, wouldn't have happened if she was in the house. So,
Did you notice her door open or shut, or?
I can't remember. I think it may have been open, because yeah, it probably would have been open, but I don't remember. But she used to sleep with the door open because she was afraid that she would usually have the toilet light on or bathroom light or something. So I don't remember the door being open or closed, but it probably would have been.
Where were you when you were told that she had been found?
We were here at the station.
Okay.
Well, actually, no, we saw something on TV just beforehand, but it wasn't confirmed if it was her. It just being that there was a body found at Pimpama.
Yeah.
Believed to be her. I think at that point we were still under the impression that Dad was going to hide her quite well, that no one would find her ever. And so at that point we were a bit sketchy on whether it was her or not.
Yep.
I hoped it was her, and it turned out it was.
Why did you hope it was her?
Because I didn't want to be a part of it anymore. I just wanted it over. That we were all called together and were told that it was confirmed to be her.
Okay. What was the reaction of the family at that point?
I was pleased that she was found. And at that point, I still had to act. Obviously, because Dad and all that were in the room, I still had to act like I didn't know. During
that statement, were you truthful about what you knew about Tia Palmer's murder or disappearance at that point in time? And did you give a false account of what you knew?
Yes.
What was the reason behind that?
Because I was scared for my safety in regards to what Dad would do.
Has he made any threats to you before?
No.
Never threatened you in any way? About your home life, like is there any violence in the home?
Not hitting or whatever, but Occasionally it can get loud, but I was never really hit, as far as I can remember.
Are you scared of him are you scared of him normally?
No, just in that regard.
Okay.
Because I feel like in that regard he was very unpredictable, and I don't save family or himself in that regard, and I didn't want to take the chance.
Is there anything else that you want to say at this point in time?
I just wish it didn't turn out this way. I wish none of this ever happened.
Yeah.
Came out to me and he started to cry and he said, Mum, I've done something terrible. And he said, I've had a sexual encounter with Tia or something to those words.
Okay, I was going to say, were they
Yeah,
words
no,
used?
probably not the words, but yeah, I don't really remember exactly what it was then, but yeah, it indicated that he'd had a sexual encounter with Tia.
The message was clear.
It was, yeah. And I said, oh my God, mate.
So you were shocked.
I was absolutely stunned, shocked. I said, oh mate, no, how could you let something like that happen? And he sort of briefly expressed to me that she had come on to him and that she had threatened our Labrador's life
Okay.
if he didn't do it. So that really concerned me.
Yeah.
I said, we will deal with it. Don't let it worry you, just go to dance, do what you got to do. We will talk about all this and just try and get it out of your head, sort of thing. I did say to Rick that Trent just came and told me that he'd had a sexual encounter with Tia, and Trent had indicated to me that it was the Sunday previous.
And how was his reaction?
I wouldn't say he was cross, but he was disturbed about it. And he was very concerned because he knows the implications for a boy of his age with a girl of her age.
Of course.
He was adamant about him doing jail time, that he'll go to jail for something like this.
Yeah.
So Rick was, extremely
Right.
concerned about that.
Yeah.
And he couldn't allow Trent to go to jail. He just can't let it happen. We were concerned she could be pregnant or
Okay.
something.
And did you have that conversation with Rick at that time?
I think it did.
Okay.
It was mentioned
Yeah.
that no, she had pains in the stomach. No, we were worried that she could be pregnant. We just all felt that that we had to keep it to ourselves, and we would get Trent some help, like a psychologist. And
Okay.
we would make sure that Tia was okay, and make sure she wasn't pregnant, hopefully. And if she was, we would deal with it, and we would look after her and make sure everything was all right.
The last time that you saw Tiahleigh Palmer alive, when was that?
In her bedroom, sitting on her bed. I
Okay.
said goodnight to her there.
Yeah.
And expressed to her that she needed to stay there and put herself to sleep when she was ready, sort of thing.
And where was Rick?
I think he was outside the kitchen door, waiting for me to come back outside.
Okay. Was there anyone else in the house?
Nobody else in the house, no.
And then you left?
I got inside and I said to Rick, was Tia okay? And I think he said something about, so the exact words, it's all taken care of or something. I said, what do you mean by that? I said, don't worry, don't ask any questions, I've taken care of it. And I went to go to her room and he said, don't go in there. I said, why not? And he said, I told you it's sorted, it's taken care of. I said, what do you mean? He said, don't ask any questions. I guess I had a gut feeling that something wasn't right, but I couldn't really do much about it. If that's what he's done, I didn't want to see it or know anything about it, so.
So you didn't ask him direct?
No.
And did he tell you direct?
No. He backed the car over to the shed, the big shed where all the cars are. That's all I saw.
What do you think he was doing at that point?
Putting her body in the boot of the car. I had a feeling that she could have been in his shed, but I didn't want to see her anyway.
It's a judgment backed by the courts. Trent Thorburn was charged and convicted of incest, attempting to pervert the course of justice, and 2 counts of perjury, and served 16 months in jail. His older brother, Joshua, pleaded guilty to perjury and attempting to pervert the course of justice, as did their mother, Jolene.